The crypto market is pumping hard and the altcoin season is finally here. Here are top 10 altcoins to buy in July, part 2. Hello everyone, Richard here and welcome to a new weekly overview here on AltCryptoTalk. Today I'll be going over 10 interesting altcoins around key rejection levels. So let's get started, and of course don't forget to smash that like button if you like such content. Starting with LDO. After rejecting the lower bound of this big range between 0.5 and 1 round numbers, LDO has been overall bullish short term, and this week the bulls took over medium term after breaking above this falling channel and the structure at 0.8. In fact, you can see this latest bullish movement better on H4 timeframe. We already have a shift in momentum from bearish to bullish, and we are currently trading within this rising wedge pattern as you can see in blue. Thus, as we retest the lower bound of the wedge and the structure at 0.8, we'll be looking for trend following longs, short-term trend following longs, targeting the upper band of the wedge pattern and the 1 round number, also lining up with this big major high. That's it from a medium term to short term perspective. And for the bulls to take over long term, a break above the 1.1 resistance will be needed, and then we'll be expecting a movement towards this supply zone and the 1.5 resistance and round number. So long story short, for now looking for short term longs targeting the 1 round number and then waiting for a break above the 1.1 to expect a bigger continuation towards the 1.5. Next, Sui. As mentioned multiple times previously, it has been the most performer or the best performer for the cycle. As you can see, just like LDO, we broke above this falling wedge pattern, and now the momentum has been shifted finally from bearish to bullish. However, for the bulls to remain in control and retest the all-time high at 5.3 and the 5 round number, in fact, a break above this structure at 4.3 is needed. As you can see, we've got multiple rejections from this zone. So a break above this area, in fact, if it happens, we'll be expecting this continuation towards the 5.3. Meanwhile, of course, we can still expect a correction. And in this case, as we retest this area, which intersects perfectly with this demand zone and the lower trend line marked in blue, we'll be looking for trend following longs, short-term ones, targeting the 4.2 resistance zone. Next, we've got HBAR. As you can see, and you can check it out, XLM, XRP, and many US-based tokens has surged or pumped like crazy last week. For example, XLM surged by over 100%, 105% last week. HBAR is not different. As mentioned multiple times previously throughout the weekly outlooks, articles, and here also tweets, we have been waiting for HBAR to reject this demand zone. In fact, it was a massive demand zone. We've got the first impulse, a correction, or a pause, and then a bigger massive impulse movement. That's why this area was very strong. We looked for longs previously here, so now we have 2 rejections making this area as a support, and we have been looking for the 3rd rejection, which happened this week. Happened last month, but the real movement happened last week. Anyway, from a medium-term perspective, we were waiting, if you remember, for a break above the 0.1635 for the bulls to take over. It was also an inverse head and shoulders pattern, also breaking above this channel. So a massive clean trade as per the textbook. We broke above it and then we surged towards the upper band of this range. Now I'm expecting, just like Sui and LDO we went previously, a correction. And then as we retest this previous structure and the lower trend line in blue, we'll be looking for new short-term longs. But for the bulls to remain in control and to take over long-term, retesting these previous highs at 0.4, 0.38, a break above this area will be needed. Uni. The momentum has been shifted already previously and we are now bullish. Previously we were bearish, making big impulse movements, pushing lower, small corrections, moving higher. We broke above this previous major high. We had an accumulation phase. The markup started. Now we are bullish. Impulse, correction, and we are currently in the making of this impulse. I'm expecting a correction to be starting soon, and then we'll be looking for the 4th impulse to push the price upward towards this structure here. Anyway, from a technical perspective, from a price action perspective, we are around the upper bound of the channel. So yes, we can go a little bit higher, but I'm still expecting this correction towards the 8 round number. As we retested this big support, we'll be looking for the 4th rejection or the 4th impulse movement, as I mentioned, and then targeting the 10 round number. Next, Atom, one of the cleanest of all. If you go to weekly time frame, you can see that it has been trading within a big range. The 3.5 is still acting as support, and as mentioned previously, if you remember, as long as the 3.5 remains intact, it's holding, we'll be expecting a bullish movement towards the 10. That's like a 300% movement upward. Anyway, let's take it step by step, right? We are currently retesting the lower bound of this small range on daily time frame. So we'll be looking for short-term longs targeting the 5.5 structure, as you can see in red. And once we break above the 5.5, we'll be expecting 100% movement towards the 8.5 and 10 round numbers. Meanwhile, we can zoom into lower time frames. As we retest this area, we'll be looking for short-term trend following longs. It's a massive zone, what I call a trio retest, retesting 3 rejections. The first one is the structure, the second one is the trend line, and the third one is this demand zone. So a massive zone around 4.25, 4.3 to look for short-term trend following longs targeting the 5 round number. Grass, retesting a very strong round number, 1 round number. Also a big range, just like Atom, in the shape of a big inverse head and shoulders pattern as a big accumulation phase. So we had our markdown, big accumulation, waiting for the markup to start by breaking above the 1.3. Once we break to the upside, we'll be expecting this massive bullish movement. In fact, I also have my alert just right there. And also have another alert around the 1 round number to be looking for shorter longs, just like here, and targeting the upper bound around 20% movement upward. If I zoom into lower time frames, you can see it even better on H1. Now we are in the making of this correction movement. As we retest this area, I'll be looking for short-term longs targeting the 1.2. And as I mentioned previously, for the bulls to take over long-term and start this big, massive movement towards the 2 or even 3 round numbers, a break above the 1.3 neckline is needed. Next, we've got QNT, Quant. Yes, this one is boring, but at least it's stable. While everything is moving downward, Quant or QNT rarely moves down. But of course, when everything is pumping, QNT goes up like slowly. Daily time frame, overall bullish, rejected this support multiple times. Previously support, turned resistance, broken upward, now acting as support again. So as price retested, it's a very strong area to be looking for longs, targeting the 150. So it's a 50% movement upward, especially that we have the 100 round number. So it's a support, structure, 100 round number, a very strong area to be looking for trend following longs because it's already bullish. ICP, just like Atom, this reminds me of Atom a lot. And of course, Grass, if you remember, it's an accumulation phase, currently retesting the lower bound of this big range, 4.5, 5 round numbers. I previously mentioned ICP when I went over altcoins rejecting the 5 round number, if you remember. Currently retested this area multiple times, and now we broke above this previous high. This is very similar to this high being broken upward, and price went up like crazy towards the upper bound of this range. Not like crazy, it's a small movement, but it respected the structure perfectly. Now broke above this high and retesting this area again, 5 round number, structure, lower trend line, very strong area to be looking for trend following longs, targeting the 6.2 round numbers or resistance zone. And then for the bulls take over long term and push towards the 10 round number, 10.5 even, a break above this accumulation phase is needed, which would be around the 6.4. Once we break it to the upside, we'll be expecting a bigger bullish movement. Next, we've got DOT. As I mentioned multiple times previously, DOT will surprise everyone and you will see it. We've rejected this area multiple times, 3.5 support area. We also got a demand zone here, previously filled. Anyway, it's still holding above the 3.5. For the bulls to take over long term and start this massive bullish movement, a break above this previous high is needed. Just like here, we broke to the upside and then went up in a parabolic manner. Currently retesting the lower bound of it, H4 time frame, just like Atom, Grass, and all the previous altcoins we went over. We broke above a major structure, and now we are in the making of a retest, a correction. That's why we'll be waiting for it to be looking for trend following longs. It's a massive zone because it's a structure, demand zone, and also the lower trend line, also the support from daily time frame. So as soon as we approach this area, we can zoom into lower time frames and look for trend following longs. Last but not least, MKR. It has been holding strong. For example, if you compare it to DOT from daily time frame, it has been bearish, while MKR has been bullish. So holding strong MKR and RWA coin. Weekly time frame, we've broken above the 2K, now acting as support, so we'll be looking for trend following longs. We also got this rising channel, as you can see in orange. As long as we are above this area, above the 1743, will remain bullish. For the bulls to take over again long term and start the crazy bullish impulse movement upward, a break above this last major high is needed, which would be a break back above the 2K and also above the structure at 2075. Once we break to the upside, we'll be expecting this bullish movement towards the 2.5K round number, lining up with the upper bound of this rising orange channel. Of course, meanwhile, short term, as we approach this support low bound of this big range and the lower trend line in orange, we'll be looking for short term longs targeting the 2K round number. That's it for these 10 altcoins. Let me know in the comments which altcoins you are or you have in your shopping cart, and I'll see you hopefully on the next one.